Flosstube, it's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. Welcome to my channel. This is a channel about cross stitch, and today is, I believe it's the 21st of January. My oldest son turns 29 in a week. Holy cow. How did that happen? This is Flosstube video 112, and I'm a little bit late getting to you. It's January. I feel like there's 6,000 days in January. So what happened when I was gone? We went to dinner one weekend with some friends. It was actually lunch. And these are some people my husband has befriended. They are immigrants from China, and he's helped them with quite a few things. They wanted to take us out to eat. So we went to a hot pot restaurant. We've never been to one of those before, and we just had a blast. It was so much fun. And I think I really have a new appreciation for people who come to this country and the vulnerability, right, of coming in and not having people you know that whom you can trust, or a network of friends. So my husband's been a blessing to help them, and I really enjoy it. We had a great day out with them. They don't speak English, or very little. So a lot of it talking is through the translation app, which how nice is that we can do that now. You're not just looking it up in a book. But it was a lot of fun. A very different experience. And then we had ice and snow, like the rest of the United States, I think. We had just a skiff of snow, but boy, did we have ice. One day, and that was last week, and I would have probably filmed last weekend, but for the weather, we had power the whole time. So that was a blessing. My husband had the generator ready in case we needed to fire that up. And we did have a pipe freeze one day, and it was between the storage tank and the pump, and it didn't break. He was able to unthaw that. So it could have been so much worse than it was. But boy, people up north in the Portland area, there are massive fir trees that were coming down on top of houses. And I think, there were some deaths, unfortunately. It was pretty sad. So we're moving past that. It's not freezing now, and the ice and the snow have cleared, and I am super grateful for that. One day, about the last night that it was supposed to get up to 40, and I had to walk between the tiny house and the shop. So if you're new to my channel, we moved to Oregon. We live on 5 acres. My husband is going to build our house. We live in a shop with a interior room that he built that has like our living room furniture and our bed in it. And then there's a tiny house about 130 feet away that has the kitchen and bathroom and my workstation and a table to eat at. It's a small house. You could not fit a bed in there. Anyway, so if I need to use a restroom, that's where I have to go. And that night, about 10 or 11 o'clock, the temperature increased to 40 or 42, but it was raining. And I went out to go use the bathroom at the tiny house, and it was the slickest I have ever been on, because really you have a sheet of ice with a quarter inch of water on it. So I couldn't get 5 feet away, and I just used the facilities outside like we're camping. There you go. You make do when you have to, right? So that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been stitching quite a bit. I've been working quite a bit, and I am really happy when I go out, and at about 5:30 now, it's still light out. Because to me, that's like, okay, pretty soon there's going to be daffodils, crocus poking up, and trees will be blooming. It'll be spring, and I'll be so grateful. Now, let's just talk about what I've been stitching on. I will talk a little bit about that, about some new starts, a new start, a finish. What have I been watching? And we'll talk a little bit about giveaways at the end. So stay tuned if you're interested in giveaways. As I showed, if you watch my WIP parade, I showed about a dozen, I think 12 or 13 projects that I'm going to focus on this year. And there are big projects. I think there's 3 extra large and 2 extra large projects. So I put my projects in a spreadsheet. I know it's not very romantic, it's not very pretty, it's not in a planner, the book of days, but it's just the way I can track it easily. I can move information around, I can insert columns if I want to and add data, but I generally just find that to be the most effective for me. I am not good at recording progress. I work a lot of hours and I do that in my day job, and I just don't have capacity to continue to do it after my work hours. So this is the simplest way for me to track it. If you watch my WIP parade, you'll see the 12 that I focused on, and this is the one small that I worked on. Caveat, small. Okay, so this seems like it should be small. It's not. It's not. This is the Clustered Stars. It was a Dying to Stitch club kit at one point. The pattern is in a book or booklet that Blackbird has released. So that pattern is available. And on my WIP parade, I had outlined this. That was what I had done. So I picked this up, and this was really about one night stitching. It went really fast. So I thought, oh, this is really not going to take that long. Oh, it took a while. It took a while because this is a fair amount of stitching. But what I loved is that I started and I did some of the border as I went, and then I dropped down and started this too. So I really had a lot of variety in stitching, and that is what makes my brain go. Why I'm not a monogamous stitcher, but it helps me look forward to working on the project. I think projects where you get kind of stuck and you just don't like it anymore, it's hard for me to make myself finish those. So this is Clustered Stars. I may finish this myself. I may send it out. I just haven't decided yet. I certainly could do it. I find that I don't have much table space or counter space in our current living situation. So we'll see. I don't know. I might just do it. It's not going to be terribly difficult. I can't decide. All right, so that's a finish. So then I picked up, the next WIP I picked up was Real Comfort by Plum Street. This is a retreat kit from the Addicts Retreat Autumn Abundance in the fall of last year. And I had a little bit of the border done, and when I picked it up, I did a little bit more. I did the one half, basically started working on this bottom grass section. So the leaves are in, and I just have to fill it out with green. There is a little bit of backstitch for the veins in the leaves, and but this is really now down to, it'll go quickly. It's great zoom stitching, quite frankly, because you can't hardly screw that up. So that was Real Comfort. Now, and that's a Jane Austen quote that she put on there, super popular quote. You've probably seen it on other cross stitches. The next one I picked up is, this is going to be a short video, I think. Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. My kids gifted me the silks that are hanging from this knob right here. Sorry, this is a little bit shiny, but Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House. Isn't it Carriage House? Yeah, Carriage House Samplings. I had stitched the first block, but I was missing a thread, so I couldn't finish the snow nor the pine needles on the block. And I had done some of the boat on the adjacent block, and since then I have finished this block. I put the little snow in there on the branches. I put the pine needles on. I finished the boat. The whole boat is done. And all of the confetti, this is like fireworks on here, is done. And now I'm just filling in the black. Again, good zoom stitching. And this should be done by the end of the month. So I did get a jump start on this between Christmas and New Year's, because I knew that this block, if I want to get it done by the end of January, was going to be pretty labor intensive. If you look at the pattern, and let me just slip it out of this envelope. When I look at this pattern, this is the one I'm like, oh, that one's going to take forever. So I wanted to get it done first. And I usually am a lower left starter, so I did this one. It went really quickly, and I really just jumped into this one as fast as I could. This one is going to be a dedication to my grandmother, who just loved to entertain people and just loved the holidays. So I have found a different quote that I'm going to use for this block down here, and I'm thinking through how the motifs will look. So at first I was going to just skip this block and maybe go to this one in the month of February, but I think I will finish this one in February. It's a shorter month, There's less stitching here, and personalization to me isn't terribly difficult. It's just tedious, right? So just getting out whatever you use for charting, whether it's a software program or, you know, a piece of graph paper, doesn't really much matter. It's just a matter of charting it out and then stitching it. Charting it's the thing that takes the longest. So I think I'll probably do that one in February. And I'll be working on this for the rest of January. Now that we're past the midway part, I probably will go pretty fast, right? It seems like it's a turtle in a race, but now I think the turtle's turning into a hare, and I'm going to have to really diligently work on this to finish all that sky. So that is the Christmas at Hopper and Hollow, and my loose goal is to try and do about one of those a month. And by starting early, I hope to have it done in November. It won't be framed for Christmas, but I can enjoy it for Christmas this next year. Now, the next one I picked up is my Mirabilia focus piece for 2024. It's Florentina by Mirabilia. My Mirabilias, they're my oldest WIPs. Because in 2019, when we focused on 9 and 19, Michelle Farm Girl started the hashtag for that. I worked my really old WIPs, or I discontinued and gave away a couple that I knew I was never going to finish. But the Mirabilias were still in play, and I may not ever frame the rest of them, but I might. You never know. All right, so this is where Florentina is. Let me see if I can get her on my board a little better. I believe this is a pole stitches fabric, but it could be a Crafty Kitten fabric. Somebody asked me about that, and I don't know for sure. So since I last showed you this, she got a face. And this hair was mostly done. I would say 2/3 done. I worked on that, and it was confetti. It was New York, Times Square, New Year's Eve confetti. It was such a pain. But she's gorgeous. And that face, I mean, look at that expression. So I've stitched, this is over one on the face. She's down here. The stitching it's hard probably to see on camera because this fabric is not too dissimilar from her face. But when you see the face stitched, the complexion is more uniform than the color of the fabric, right? So this part was stitched and this part is stitched. So the next time I will concentrate on getting all the rest of this stitched. Now, she's so pretty. That girl loves some blue eyeshadow. She's straight out of the 80s. And some lip gloss too. So I'm like, I looked at her, I thought, if she's kind of got almost like a Princess Leia bun going on here. But she took that out and put some Aquanet on. She'd be straight out of the 1980s. Although, in some respects, I think she might be 70s because she looks like she's wearing a gunny sax dress. She is just gorgeous and so much fun to work on. I was diligently working on that face. It was tedious getting that done, but I love that it's done now. And she also has an arm that's sort of like this, holding some flowers and some foliage. So I'll still have to do that. I'll come in and you see how this is outlined here with whatever thread color that is. I'll outline it here, then I'll fill it in. This is not filled in. This is just the color of the fabric. So that is my Mirabilia focus this year, and I love stitching on her. So much fun. All right. The last WIP that I've been working on, I picked up last night, and that is the Leeds House Sampler. This, again, is a start from like 2018. I almost said 1918. 2018. And I'm working on this bottom section. I think I had part of one row done. Now, I had thought about changing the verse. I'm not a big fan of backstitch verse, but I wasn't going to rechart it. Let's be honest. I got other things to do. So I picked it up. I didn't take it off my Q-snap for today because I'm going to work on it some more. I did all the verse. And I also have done probably about half of what is stitched for the border. There's just the bottom, which is a mirror of this, to put in. Then I'm going to start working on this section, and then I'll be probably about halfway done. So this one is so pretty. The fabric, I think this is 40 count platinum. And I'm stitching it with, there was a petite sulky thread pack that came with it. In fact, I think I bought 2 because I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough with 1. And the spools are over on my stitching area, so I didn't pack them up, but they're really pretty. They're good to work with. On 40 count, they're a little plump. It's okay. And they do tend to be a little twisty, so when I 2-hand stitch on the bottom, I find myself kind of pulling it through and feeling the thread to make sure it doesn't twist, and even then every once in a while one will get slipped through, and I'll have to go figure out if I'm going to unpick and untwist that little knot or leave it. Sometimes I just stitch it down, depends on how far I've gone. And that's probably not perfect, but nobody cares. All right. Now, I did go to Stitch Group yesterday, and there's a local area Stitch Group that I've joined. I went to one of their stitch nights on a Thursday in December, but it was an hour away, so I probably won't do that. They meet every week, but this last one was much closer to me. It was about 20 minutes away, and it was on a Saturday, so that was nice. I don't want to drag my big projects, which I've been working on. So I started all these kits here are the clubs I've joined, and I just need to get them, start working on them. So this was easy. Picked up Pineberry Lane, A Token of Friendship. This was a club from Dying to Stitch. And like there is, what I love about their kits is they give you the backing fabric, and if you want to put a little ribbon on there, they've got that. Comes with all the thread that you'll need. And the fabric. Usually it's an R&R fabric. I'm going to put this on here because it might be easier to see. A bit easier for me to hold up. So this is what I stitched. And this definitely makes me think about spring. I really enjoyed that. I like stitching in hand when it comes to the smalls. It's easy. It's easy to take to a stitch group. I don't have to mess with a bunch of stuff. I use my Diane, the woodpecker's daughter. She gifted us at the Autumn Abundance Retreat these project folios, which are just so nice for taking a small with you. And it's so expertly sewn. She's amazing. I appreciate you, Diane, very much. So I started that. That was a little start, and that'll be finished this year. I may not even put it on my spreadsheet. I don't know. I might track it. We'll see. Now, all right. So what have I been watching? Todd and I tend to watch, because again, I'm in this room. We have our recliners and a TV and a bed, and that's it. And so if he's watching YouTube channels that I don't really care about, homesteading stuff or Alaska shows or gold mining shows, sometimes I'll watch that, but pretty much I usually put my headphones on and watch my tablet or my phone, and I'll watch Flosstube. But a lot of times we watch stuff together. I mean, he might watch some YouTube things while I'm still working. Then I'll come in here, and then we've watched the OA, which was fantastic, and it looked like it needed a part 3, and people have solicited to have a part 3 made, but it looks like they're not going to do that. But it was good. It was a great program, super different than anything I've ever watched. And we also started watching Louder Milk, and these are on Netflix, I believe, and it's kind of snarky. It's hilarious. So we're through, I think, season 1, and we're into season 2. We're always looking for shows to watch. Every time we get in, we're like, have we watched this series? Oh, yeah. You can't remember that you start watching, like, oh, yeah, we watched this one already. What else? I just thought I'd mention some of my all-time favorite episodes of Flosstube. And, of course, there's lots they're just phenomenal projects that are done. But what I'm thinking about, and we're thinking about the awards season that's coming up, like the Academy Awards, the Oscars. And my top 5 favorite funny floss tubes is, this is not necessarily in order of favoritism because I love them all, but one, I love when Susie Rayner does the Mavis impressions, and she comes in with her hair in rollers and she starts talking like she's from the, a heavy Midwest accent. Those are hilarious. So that was, she's done a couple of those. I highly recommend watching her channel. That's Susie. I think it's Susie Rayner. I'll go ahead and mention her below in case you want to watch her videos. And then Emily from Eclectic Possessions. I shouldn't say earlier, several years ago, her husband and her husband's brother did almost like a late night show that's a spoof of cross stitch. And it was so funny. I was watching it at night. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. Then the next day I showed my husband and he got it. He thought it was funny, but not as funny as I thought it was. It was so funny. Suzette from the Primitive Stitcher has a video where her cat is constantly interrupting her, Morris the cat. And she is trying to be so patient with that dang cat who keeps knocking her stuff over, bumping into her camera. It was so funny. So Primitive Stitcher, look for the Morris the cat video. I don't know what it's titled. And then my all-time funny favorite one, and I think I've mentioned this before, is 24 Hours of Cross Stitch, the first time they did it. And Jen Lee was filming herself, and they filmed every hour, like the show 24. And she saved, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and you could see this decline over the it's getting late and you get loopy. She saved the hardest start of all. It was on black linen 40 count, and I was laughing so hard I was crying. It was so funny, and they looked like they were being beat up. I mean, they were just so tired by the time they got to that point. It was hilarious. So I would say I watched Jen and her mom do her WIP parade, and there are 160 some WIPs, and they're doing 24 hours of cross stitch, so it's over 3 hours long. I could not watch it all at once, but it is the most amazing WIP parade, and her mother must win the award for Best Supporting Actress for putting away every project as she would show it. I mean, and then they start laughing, and they get each other, right? You know what I'm talking about. Your bestie, the person that you don't even have to hardly say anything and you start cracking up. They just crack me up. I like their channel a lot. I like watching their mom-daughter dynamic, and recommend them. So if you want a WIP parade to beat all WIP parades, that's the one to watch. Now, a couple things that I got in the mail. I'm just going to say, Lori Textilist gets me into trouble. That's why she's a good friend. She showed, not this one, it's a different one like this. This is thread, what is this called? Needle Love. Needle Love. These are still around. I bought this from an Etsy seller. There are multiple projects that are worthy of consideration for working on. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Maggie Bonomi tends to be a contributor to these. This one, Winterberry threads, and this other one, Snowflake threads. I love that little pillow. Super easy to make, I think. So I got those. Paulette. I should just buy all the things that Paulette's releases. This is one of her Rhode Island type samplers. She has a series. This is the autumn one, the New World sampler, and also Winter Blessings. This would be super easy. I love that one. Also, Lori Textiles was showing some of her Abby Rose design, Abby Rose designs charts. So I went on a hunt for some of those. This one I've been going to buy. So I think Abby Rose has had some health conditions, the gal who's the designer for that. So she's not printing right now. I don't know if she's never going to print again. I don't know. But this one is Merry Christmas. I bought that from Cecilia Samplers. She had some in stock. Yuletide on Thistle Hill. Really liked that one as well. I think I bought this from Ye Old Cross Stitch. Hometown Christmas. Really liked that one. And Home was where you hang your needlework. That's my purchases. Oh no, one more. Ooh, I do love this one. Lots of people are stitching this one. Fabulous House Series 1. And I think the second one's a castle. That is my huge purchases for the month. I don't think I have anything else. Oh, I do have something coming in the mail, I think. So what am I thinking about? So there is another, I think it's Mary Havens is the name of the chart. I've got it. It's somewhere in here. I just didn't feel like pulling it out. I've been thinking about that one. That one is at the Country Sampler. They have it on the wall. It's really pretty. Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, she talks about it when she goes to Country Sampler and she's seen pictures, but I'm thinking about doing a full conversion on it. So I may pull that out. I don't know. I'm trying to finish extra large pieces. What am I talking about? And then I was thinking, well, I could do a Christmas. I have so many Christmas projects. I could do Christmas media and start 31 Christmas things. Then I'm like, oh, I could do Brenda Gervais. I could do Brenda Gervais media. I just need to keep my head down. Quit the distractions. I like this one, the Ann Perry sampler. This is from 1884 Stitchery. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a high contender on my short list. This one is available. You can hop over and buy its PDF. There's that one. Also, I love this one, Keep Me Sampler by Moira Blackburn Designs. It has a big, beautiful weeping willow in the middle. I really like the featheriness of the border. I would do a conversion on this one and deepen the colors. I would change probably the color of the house depending on the color of my fabric. So that's on my short list. This one also, Weeping Tree Sampler from the City Stitcher. Thank you. I've mentioned this one before. Thank you to the people that mentioned there is an offset thread on purpose on this. So you have to watch for that. And it's fine. As long as you know about it. No big deal. This one, I had stitched part of this before and I didn't like, I had converted some, I don't know what it was. The fabric wasn't right. The threads weren't right. So I abandoned the project because I knew I would restart it. This is Good Company by the Scarlet House. And this says, she lives on a hill overlooking the sea with only her dogs for good company. She doesn't need less, she doesn't need more than to hear the waves crash into the shore. Just love that one. That's a potential. That one is stitched, I think Melly Ellie Stitches. She stitched this with the called for Bell Swath Silks. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That would be like $170. I probably have some of those silks. I don't know. Who knows what I'll do. And then the last one, this was on my, I think last year I asked you guys to vote on a new start, and I don't think I started anything. There were like 5 that I gave you. And I believe some other people have started this one. It's MT1810, and it's full of beautiful motifs. Very soft. Again, I've got some fabric picked out. I might change some colors because here's the deal. I need color. I can't stitch a whole sampler in beige. It won't hold my attention. So I probably will, depending on what it looks like, when I pull the colors, I might change them. We'll see. Sometimes I talk the talk, but it doesn't happen. Now, let's just talk quickly about giveaways and wrap this up. I have 2 giveaways from 2 videos ago that the people didn't reach out to me. And last time I had a couple that I got rid of by doing speed giveaway. And this is much like my friend Barb, Lost in Floss. I adopted this from her. Just for these 2 charts that were not claimed, I'm going to do a little different process. This is the Holly and the Ivy. And what I'm going to do just for these two pieces is, if you would like this chart, write Holly in your comment and email me with your address at the email below. The first person to do that I'll mail you the chart. Now, if you look in the comments and like 12 people have said Holly, if you want to email me, you can, but probably you're not going to be the person who gets it. So if you're watching this days after, I mean, I did this last time with a couple charts, it went like that. So look in the comments to see who or how many people have commented before you send me an email. The other one is the Book of Days. And I wanted to make sure that this one gets out because it's already middle of January. So if you would like this one, please comment 2024 and email me at the address in the Dropbox below with your address, and I will drop that in the mail to you. First person. Okay, so from last time I had a couple of giveaways. The first one is the redware sampler that I stitched out of this magazine. Well, you get the whole magazine, but this is the one that I stitched. Redware sampler. And the winner of that is Ellen Stratton 8878. Ellen Stratton 8878. Please email me your address at the email address below. The other one is the Samplers Remembered ER 1821 Antique Sampler. It's got a started project in it. You can throw it away, do whatever you want with it. The winner of this is Linda Meek 5228. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm down to my normal 30 minutes. It's kind of my sweet spot. I will probably see you. Let's see, what's today? The 21st. We've got 2 weekends. I have a girls' weekend in February toward the beginning, but I think I'll have time to get one more video in beforehand. Fingers crossed. And I am looking forward to plugging away on the focus pieces. You never know, I might start some things though. We'll see. Have a great day and thanks for watching. Take care.